Well, hello, everyone. My name is David Fine, and I'm the CEO of ValueSource. I'm really excited today to welcome you to our high-touch, high-tech client marketing system presented by Kevin Knebl. I've known Kevin for many years, and he's really had a big influence on me in terms of creating both business and personal relationships. And I think he's also a living example of the incredible power of what he teaches. Kevin's made a positive difference in my life, and I promise you that if you listen to him today, and more importantly, if you put what he says into practice, he'll make a big difference in your life as well. And it's really more than just creating clients. It's really about creating a better life. And Kevin, I don't think I've ever publicly thanked you for all you've done for me over the past decade, but thank you. You're an amazing guy and really an amazing friend. And before I start, I want to tell you a little bit about Kevin. He's an international public speaker, author, trainer, and coach. And his clients are top firms in the financial services all over the world, really. And he travels the world speaking and teaching people how to grow their professional practices and businesses through building better relationships. And I feel very fortunate today to have Kevin with us. His corporate clients pay him $10,000 to $20,000 to train their employees on what he's going to be teaching you today. And I know how most webinars go. You get one or two good ideas from them, and it's worth your time. But I would like to challenge you to go way beyond that thinking today. I want to encourage you, actually, I want to beg you to seriously consider putting a relationship building plan in place and commit to spending the time necessary to make it happen. There's very few things you can do in your life that will have the impact on your life that making that commitment will. So now let's turn it over to Kevin and let's hear what he has to say. So here you go, Kevin.
David, you are so kind. Thank you so much for that warm introduction. I'm so glad we've been friends now for over 10 years, and you have been just as much of a blessing in my life as you kindly said that I am in yours. So thank you. Hey, everybody, thank you so much for taking a little bit of time out of your busy day to tune into this broadcast. I'm going to share some information with you here which has had a profound impact in my life and in the lives of my clients. I'm going to tell you that what I'm about to show you has enabled myself and my clients to put millions and millions of dollars through our businesses in terms of client acquisition, referral creation, lead generation, strategic alliances, networking partnerships. This is not some marketing mumbo jumbo that hopefully it works and you're going to be the guinea pig. Not at all. What I'm about to teach you is exactly what I do every day, how I've developed a 99% by invitation and referral only business, and how I've helped my clients do the same exact thing. Now, typically, I deliver programs that are anywhere from a couple hours to a half day to a full day in length. We've got about 60 minutes together. I am going to be going Mach 5 with my receding hairline on fire. So understand that no matter how fast I speak, we're just scratching the tip of the iceberg as to what can be done. But because I've been doing this since the earth was cooling, I can assure you that you're going to take away more than a couple of nuggets, because I want every minute of this to be action-packed. This isn't fluff. So I'm going to say buckle up, take notes, write as fast as you can, and because of my relationship with David and ValueSource, and because of your relationship with them, I don't want you to look at today like it's a one-time deal. I'm all about creating, nurturing, and deepening relationships, so possibly down the road, maybe there's ways that we can add more value to each other back and forth. So I'm going to run through a couple slides very quickly, and then we're going to jump onto the internet. I learned a long time ago that the worst way in the world to teach somebody how to ride a bike is to show them a PowerPoint presentation on riding a bike. The best way to teach somebody how to ride a bike is to put them on the bike. So I'm going to run through some slides quickly, and then we're going to rock and roll. At the core of everything I do, it's about relationships. Now, I'm not saying this like it's a kumbaya group hug moment, but if you've been in business for a little while, you know once you get past your technical expertise in your chosen profession, your long-term success is always going to come down to the ability to build relationships. So it's kind of funny because some of the things our parents told us many years ago are actually just as true, if not even more true now, than when our parents told us. Like when I was a kid, I remember hearing, if you don't have something nice to say, don't say anything at all. Well, number one here, it's true. You need to build positive relationships, and especially in a world where we have the internet. Thank you, Al Gore. You know, ever since Al Gore invented the internet, you know, the internet is forever. So I tell people, I tell my audiences all the time, if you wouldn't whisper it in your grandmother's ear, you probably don't want to post it on the internet. So you need to build positive relationships. Number two, you need to have a very, very clear and compelling social media presence. You don't necessarily need to be a social media expert, but you do need to have a compelling presence because, just like our parents told us years ago, you only have one chance to make a good first impression. Well, I'm going to show you in a couple moments how to ensure that you're making the right first impression. And number three, you need to have an understanding of how to use old school and new school technology to build relationships. And I'll give you examples of both in this presentation. All things being equal, people do business with and refer business to people they know, like, and trust. Now, most people have heard that before, but if you were to take a survey of 1,000 business people and ask them, have you heard that sentence before, they'd probably all say yes. But then if you ask them a follow-up question and you said, well, give me your clearly defined strategy on how you create know, like, trust relationships, you would hear crickets. A tumbleweed would go by, you'd hear an eagle off in the distance. Most people don't know how to create know, like, trust relationships. Well, that's all I do. All I do every day all around the world is teach individuals and organizations how to become more knowable, likable, and trustable faster without diminishing the value of the relationship. And that's what you're going to learn here. I'm not a big fan of the word social media, and that might sound weird because I'm kind of known internationally as a social media guy, and I write books on it. But in my opinion, media typically is a one-way monologue. I'm much more a fan of the word social networking, but that involves the word networking. And most business professionals are really not experts at networking, because they never study it. Well, networking is nothing more than a $5 word for making friends. That's all it is. I'm going to show you how to do that very, very effectively, both online and offline. Social networking is really just combining old school high-touch relationship and interpersonal skills with new school technology platforms and communication platforms like LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, and so on. Just for a couple of stats, Facebook, over 1.3 billion members. If you're listening to me right now and you ever want to follow me on Facebook, my Facebook page, my personal page is set up as a 24/7, 365 cocktail party. Lots of people watch what I do there. They apply it to their businesses, and they make a ton more money. So please feel free to join the cocktail party. LinkedIn, we're going to dig into LinkedIn in a couple minutes, and I'm going to give you some tips that I guarantee you your competitors don't know, and more than likely you probably don't know either because nobody's taken you by the hand and showed them to you. Twitter, absolute gold mine in business, although it's often misunderstood by people, but Twitter is an absolute gold mine in terms of how to use the internet to grow your business. Now, enough about that. I'm going to jump onto the internet right now, and I'm going to start showing you some things, and I want to start with LinkedIn. Hopefully you can see my LinkedIn screen right now. Why don't I just make this a hair bigger? I'll just make this little tiny bit bigger for you. And let's talk about what LinkedIn is, because LinkedIn is a key component in my overall high-tech, high-touch relationship marketing system, and it needs to be a key part of your business, overall business networking and marketing strategy. LinkedIn is the world's largest Rolodex. Now, if you're old enough to remember what the word Rolodex is, LinkedIn is a Rolodex. 375 million users worldwide, 2 to 5 new users per second. And LinkedIn disclosed at their annual company meeting last year in Half Moon Bay, California, that 42% of all LinkedIn members worldwide earn over $100,000 per year U.S. Well, that's a pretty desirable business demographic. I'm a pretty simple thinker. If I'm going to go fishing, I want to go where the fish are. Well, the fish are definitely here. So what LinkedIn is it's a Rolodex. When people are thinking about doing business with you or referring business to you, they're going to do their homework on you, just like we've always done. Professionals have always done their homework. So if I want to learn about David Fine, who's a good friend of mine, but let's pretend he wasn't. If David was not a good friend of mine and I was thinking about doing business with him or his company or something, I would do my homework, and I would, of course, type his name into Google. I would look at his website, but I would absolutely look at his digital and social footprint. Now, you're going to hear me use those terms a couple times today. A digital and social footprint. Whether you know it or not, you are leaving a trail behind you across the internet. And if at any point in this presentation today you think I'm talking about stalking, you have misunderstood me. Stalking is when you're trying to find out something about somebody that they don't want you to know. If I'm looking at what you put on your LinkedIn profile, what you put on your Facebook page, what you put on Twitter, what's on the internet regarding you and or your business, I'm not stalking. I'm just doing what professionals have always done. This is called market research and due diligence. Professionals do what amateurs don't. That's why professionals live like amateurs won't. So I'm going to show you how to use the information that you can find, not in a slick, salesy, manipulative way, but in a way that adds value to the relationship. Everything comes back. All roads in my world come back to creating, nurturing, and deepening relationships. So LinkedIn's a gold mine. I actually am very fortunate. I got on LinkedIn within within 2 months of the launch, within 60 days of the launch back in 2003. LinkedIn launched on Cinco de Mayo. On the 5th of May, 2003, I was on LinkedIn in July of 2003, so I actually have been speaking, training, coaching, and consulting on how to use LinkedIn in business longer than anybody else on earth. I never planned it this way. This wasn't my life goal. It just kind of worked out. Everybody's got an interesting path. Well, this one's mine. So I've probably looked at more LinkedIn profiles than anybody else on earth because I've been doing this since the earth was cooling. So I can assure you that most people's LinkedIn profiles do not clearly reflect their own credibility, and huge doors of opportunity swing on little tiny hinges. Don't lose an opportunity. Don't lose a deal. Don't lose a potential relationship because people are looking at your LinkedIn profile, which they are, by the way, and maybe it's not reflecting your credibility. I'm going to show you a couple profiles and take a couple of quick minutes to show you how to optimize your profile because it's very important that you're presenting the right first impression. So this is me. Right now, I have kind of a goofy picture, but I use humor a lot in what I do. So I've got a background thing going on here, so I've got a very robust LinkedIn profile. I'm actually going to show you one or two of my clients, one or two of my coaching clients, so you can kind of get a good idea of this. Kurt is actually a financial advisor in the Denver area, good friend of mine, coaching client of mine. We put a background on his LinkedIn profile here to show Colorado. You could put your company here. You could put your website. You could put your logo or whatever. He's using as many of the 120 characters as he can. He has all his contact information, business mailing address, phone number linked to his website. And then as we drill down into the summary, it's populated with certain keywords which reflect his credibility. It's no accident that there's words such as financial being used over and over in his LinkedIn profile because most people don't know that when you go on LinkedIn and you type certain words into the search box, you are either going to rise or fall in the search rankings based on how frequently you use certain words in your profile. Another client of mine, let's look at Laura. Here's Laura, financial advisor down in Miami. It's no accident that you're seeing words like financial and taxes being used over and over in her profile. Doesn't mean she's any better than any other financial advisor. She's just going to rise much higher in the search rankings because she's strategically using those words in her profile. If we go back to Kurt, in his summary, he also has some resources. Most people are unaware that you can add white papers, Excel spreadsheets, PowerPoints, Word documents, press releases. So all these things add to your credibility, so why not put them in? He's also doing something that very few people know that he can even be done. He actually has some video in his LinkedIn profile. So when we look at his profile, his assistant, I told his assistant, go to one of his seminars and sit in the back of the room with your iPhone and actually record what he's doing so people not only look at the static text in his profile, they get a feel for his style, his body language, his content. So just be aware that you can put content like video into your LinkedIn profile. If we go to my LinkedIn profile, and I'm not saying that mine's a Mona Lisa by any means, but there's definitely, in my profile here, there's a very brief 2 or 3 minute video of me looking at the camera and just introducing myself. Hey, my name's Kevin Knebl, blah, 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 blah. But now when somebody looks at my LinkedIn profile, they get a feel for who I am, what I do, the value I deliver. So the takeaway I want for you is even if you just made a 1 or 2 minute video of yourself sitting at your desk, just introducing yourself to the person that's looking at your profile, that would put you ahead of 99% of the people on LinkedIn. So there are many, many things that we could do to make your profile look world-class. Because of my relationship with David, who's a very close personal friend of mine, by extension, I consider you a friend of mine, okay? I'd like to give you a free gift. Please feel free to email me at kevin@kevinknebl.com. You can either go to my website, kevinknebl.com, or if you go to my LinkedIn profile, you'll see my email address right there. If you will email me and say, Kevin, I was on the Value Source webinar, and I would like to get your LinkedIn profile optimization cheat sheet. Either myself or my assistant, Gina, will email you as a gift from me to you my LinkedIn profile optimization cheat sheet, And if you say, Kevin, please throw in your LinkedIn templates, then we will send you the templates that we normally charge people $100 for. As a gift from me to you, because of my relationship with David and your relationship with David and Value Source, I'm happy to do that to you. Instead of you banging your head against the wall trying to figure out how to use LinkedIn or how to make your LinkedIn profile look world class, please allow me to give you a cheat sheet that you can check off as you look at it, ways to make your LinkedIn profile look great. So that's enough about that. The next thing you want to do on LinkedIn is you want to ensure that you're really treating LinkedIn like a Rolodex. So you can integrate your Gmail, Outlook, Hotmail, or any of these email platforms, or any of these email platforms. And here, you can actually make sure, instead of you manually putting into LinkedIn the names of all the people that you know in business, which will take you 20 lifetimes, just say, oh, I use Outlook. Click on the Outlook button. LinkedIn will actually reconcile all the email addresses in your Outlook address book against the 375 million people on LinkedIn. It will show you how many people you know that are already on LinkedIn in alphabetical order, and then you can determine which of those people you would like to connect with. I would encourage you to connect with almost all of them, except for two categories. Number one, people whom you would consider to be a direct competitor because you probably wouldn't hand them your Rolodex, and number two, ex-spouses. Now, I'm just joking about the ex-spouses, so you definitely, I'm playing around on that one, but you might not want to connect with direct competitors, but everybody else, it makes sense to connect with them. Please feel free to send me a LinkedIn invitation, too, as quickly as you can, and here's why. LinkedIn doesn't tell you how its algorithms work, but I write books on this stuff. I have over 20,951 LinkedIn connections. That means that I'm connected to a lot of people. I'm not trying to brag about the size of my network, but because of the way LinkedIn's algorithms work, I know that when you send me an invitation to connect with me on LinkedIn, I know that when I accept your invitation, about 7 million additional people are going to be added to your overall LinkedIn account. Now, you might not fully understand what that means yet because this is that might be relatively new to you, but I'm saving you about 2 to 3 years of building your own network. As I'm talking to you, I can see that some of you listening to me right now are sending me LinkedIn invitations because it keeps lighting up on my phone. When I go up here every morning, I have certain things that I do every morning, certain strategies, techniques, and routines that I do every morning. I will bet you $1,000 these 3 people are sitting on this webinar right now, and you know that you are. So right here, I can see who these people are, and I can see if they sent me a personal message. Every morning, I have simple routines that I teach. I go in here, I open up, I accept Mike's invitation, then I get my template, which opens up a conversation, and I send him a template back to open up a conversation with him. I don't have time today because of the limited time to get into all the nuances of what that means. In a little bit, I'm going to offer you an opportunity for some continuing education that gets into all the nooks and crannies on what I'm talking about, but I'm just showing you very quickly a simple routine. I open up LinkedIn in the morning. I go to invitations. I do not use this feature to accept or archive invitations. Do not use this. Open up the invitation. Accept the invitation, then use a relatively new feature which LinkedIn turned on last year, such as taking notes on the profile, which Mike will never know that I'm taking notes on his profile. I'm turning LinkedIn into a CRM. I could set up reminders to reach out to him and touch him. I can mention that I met him on the LinkedIn Value Source webinar, or I could tag him in any of 200 tags that I could create. As you can see here, I have many tags that I've created over the last year, but I can actually tag the individual as a prospect, a client, referral source, strategic alliance, center of influence, whatever it is that I'm interested in doing, I could tag him. Now, the vast majority of the work that I do is in financial services. I work with individual financial advisors. I work with carriers, broker-dealers, RIAs, mergers and acquisitions, valuation companies. I work with all kinds of financial people on a daily basis, and I've helped many of these people generate millions and millions of dollars in assets under management in terms of referral, client acquisition. So there's all kinds of ways that we could tag people so that we could identify more quickly when we get on LinkedIn who it is we want to create, nurture, and deepen relationships with. My phone is going crazy right now with invitations coming in, so I'm just for fun, I'm just going to put my cursor over this, and I'm going to show you how many more of you just sent me invitations in the last 60 seconds. Because 60 seconds ago, the most recent person to send me an invitation was this guy. In the last 60 seconds, all of these invitations came in. So thank you for being coachable. Thank you for following directions well. I want to take a few minutes and I want to show you one of the most powerful features on all of LinkedIn before I get into my relationship marketing content. On the home page of LinkedIn, there's a button to the right of the search bar called Advanced. LinkedIn calls this the Advanced People Search. I refer to it as the Holy Grail. So I'm going to do an example. As I do this example, I want you to have the wheels in your head spinning, thinking of all kinds of different ways you could use this in your particular business. Let's say that I wanted to do business with CEOs. I'm going to go where it says title. I'm going to type in CEO. I want current CEOs. Then I say I want to find current CEOs, let's say within, here's my zip code. I could put any zip code. If I wanted to find them in Tacoma, Washington, I click on lookup, type in Tacoma, it would give me the zip code. I'm just going to put in my zip code, and I'm going to run a 50-mile search for anybody who's currently has CEO in their current LinkedIn profile. Now, before I hit search, let me just show you a couple filters I could apply if I wanted to. I could say I only want to find CEOs in the accounting industry or the airline or any combination of 100 industries. I could say I only want to find CEOs who used to work at XYZ company or went to my college or any particular college, or the ones that speak some German, some French, and some Italian like I do, because I love opera, but don't be fooled, I also love Metallica and Tool, or the ones that have some similar philanthropic or charitable interest to me, or I want CEOs that are not just CEO in title. I want CEOs that are actually CEOs in partnership or ownership level, or maybe for some reason I'm interested in doing business with companies that have a certain number of employees. So I say I only want to find CEOs of companies with 50 to 500 employees. When I say LinkedIn's a database, it is a database on steroids. So I'm not going to apply any of these filters. I'm just going to show you some of the filters that are available. I'm going to do a 50-mile search for anybody who has CEO in their current job title. I hit search. LinkedIn searches 375 million people, pulls up 12,994 people. That's a crazy number. So let's break it down to 25 miles, rerun the search. Now I'm at 2,668 people. Let's just run it down to 10 miles. At 10 miles, I have 297 self-identified CEOs within 10 miles of my home. Now, we couldn't even have dreamt of a tool like this 10 or 20 years ago, and I'm just scratching the tip of the iceberg. Watch what I'm about to do next, though, because if you understand what I'm about to do next, you're going to lose a couple minutes sleep tonight. I've got 297 CEOs within 10 miles of me. I'm going to go over here to where it says Save Search, and I'm going to call this 10-mile 80132 CEOs. So that right there, I can call this whatever I want to call it, 10-mile 80132 CEOs. Once I save that search, listen closely to what I'm about to say next. Once I save that search, I have just turned LinkedIn into a 24/7, 365 lead generation machine. Because now I can go live my life, I can go do the things that I do, go fishing, skiing, golfing, chase my wife around the house, go out to dinner with my wife and kids, go do whatever I'm doing. And now LinkedIn is searching 24 hours a day for anybody that fits that ideal search parameter. I could have entered all kinds of additional parameters, but the clock is ticking, and I have limited time on this broadcast today. So let's say later today I'm actually going to the airport and I'm getting on a plane to Seattle. I'm going to be in Seattle for the next 4 days. Let's say I'm on top of the Space Needle on Sunday morning, or I'm at Tide's Tavern, which is one of my favorite places to eat in Gig Harbor tomorrow afternoon, and somebody moves in within 10 miles of 80132 who has CEO in their current job title, or somebody who currently is within 10 miles changes their job title to reflect CEO, or however I want to do that. However I want to do it, I will not know that because I'm 1,000 miles away. But LinkedIn will know it because LinkedIn never sleeps. LinkedIn never takes breaks, never has coffee, never goes on vacation, and you don't have to match FICA. So I'm on top of the Space Needle tomorrow afternoon. Mary Jones moves into Castle Rock, Colorado, or moves into Larkspur, or moves into Colorado Springs. I'm never going to know that, but LinkedIn will know it. And LinkedIn will take Mary Jones, put her into my saved search. It will not notify Mary Jones, but it will send me an email and say, Kevin, we found another person that fit your search parameter. Please click here to see who that is. Now, I'm running through this quick because of limited time. But if you understand what I just said, we could not in our wildest dreams 10 or 20 years ago have dreamt that there would be a tool that would identify our best prospects, clients, networking partners, and strategic alliances almost down to eye color and notify us while we're sleeping. Folks, there's nobody in America who speaks to more business people on a weekly basis on how to use these tools than me. I've just been doing this forever. I can assure you less than probably 1 to 2% of the people on LinkedIn are even aware of this feature, let alone even use it. If I could take a survey of you, all of you right now on this call, I guarantee you less than 1% of you are using this. I'm not saying that to be mean. I'm just saying it because this is not your expertise. This is not what you do every day, but it's what I do every day. I can assure you if you start applying this strategy among all the other ones that you could learn from me, this will absolutely transform your business because now you've got a lead generation system that's working for you while you're literally sleeping and doing other things. Now that I've identified these people, I can reach out to them. So let me show you how I would do that. I don't know all these people, so just for the sake of time, I'm going to click on this guy. I do not know this guy from Adam. His name is Ron Mast. I've never opened his LinkedIn profile before. He's a broker owner at some real estate company in Colorado Springs. I can look at his LinkedIn profile. I can ask myself, is this the kind of guy that I would like to do business with or have as a client or whatever? The more information he has on his profile, the easier it's going to be for me to either sell this guy or do business with this guy in some way, because he's really telling me everything I need to know in order to create a relationship. I can either approach him directly, or LinkedIn being the database that it is, it's showing me that he's a second-degree connection. What LinkedIn really is LinkedIn is the world's largest bucket with 375 million people's Rolodexes thrown into it, with computer algorithms finding the hidden connections between the people that you and I would never know because we're not psychic. Well, this is already telling me that I'm connected to somebody that knows him, if not more than one person. So I could either approach him directly, which would effectively be a cold call, or I could go through a mutual connection. Well, I'm probably going to go through a mutual connection. So here, when I click on Request Intro, it's going to show me all the people that we know in common. Look at this, dozens of people that we know in common. Why in the world would I ever try to smile and dial and try to get past the gatekeeper and build rapport and do all this, kind of stuff when I could just get a warm introduction through a mutual friend? So I'm going to pick one of the people that I know the best because that'll give me the best introduction. I'll pick Jill. And I would type a message, hey, Jill, would you be so kind as to forward this message on to Ron? Thanks a lot. And then I would type a message to Ron. Now, I'm going to tell you that I've been doing this kind of thing for 25 years. 25 years in sales, 12 years on LinkedIn. I am always looking to get better because I believe you're either growing or you're rotting. There is no status quo in life. There is no status quo in business. So I'm constantly refining my wording. I don't have time today to get into all the nuances of my pay-it-forward business model, but I operate my business from what I refer to as my pay-it-forward business model. It's a very simple concept, but it's not for everybody. I'm about to say something that's pretty strong, but you can handle it, because if you couldn't handle it, you probably wouldn't be on this call, and timid salespeople have skinny kids, and timid business people have skinny kids. What I'm about to tell you does not work for jerks, because jerks don't understand what I'm about to say, and I'm not saying that I'm Mother Teresa or Gandhi or the enlightened Buddha, but I've learned early in my sales and business career that if I sincerely take an interest in people and sincerely try to deliver value, not some thinly or not so thinly veiled sales pitch, the likelihood of us doing business together is far greater than me taking the traditional route that 99% of people in business take, which is just trying to throw a lot of mud on the wall and hopefully something's going to stick. Those days are gone. It's all about laser focus, and everything I do is laser focused. So I know that the wording that I'm about to tell you here, I know that I have an 87% response rate on the wording that I'm about to tell you, and that's all I want. All I want is a response. If I can get a response from the person, now technically, according to Mr. Webster, we are in conversation. And once we're in conversation, I can use my sales skills, my listening skills, my coaching skills, and please do not read into what I'm saying manipulation. That is not what I'm saying. All I do is mutually beneficial win-win relationships. If it's not mutually beneficial and win-win, then by definition, someone's losing. And I don't do losing relationships. I only do win-win. So I'm going to tell you what I would type here, but I want you to listen to it the way you would listen to a piece of music. Because when you put on the Beatles and Mozart, you're not looking for a wrong note. So you might not speak the way I speak, but I want you to feel the feeling and get the experience of the message based on what I would send here. So here's exactly what I would do. Hey, Jill, would you be so kind as to forward this message on to Ron? Thanks a lot, Kev. Hey, Ron, my name's Kevin Knebl. You don't know me from Adam, but it looks like you and I are both friends with Jill. Isn't she awesome? I was cruising around LinkedIn. I came across your profile, and I'm all about paying it forward, and I'd love to prove it to you, so I'm extending my hand in friendship. I'm connected to a number of people in the greater Colorado Springs business community, both online and offline, and perhaps I could introduce you to some individuals or organizations that would be beneficial to you in your current role as broker owner at Real Help Real Estate. If I could open those doors and make those introductions on your behalf, I'd be happy to do so. If you'd ever like to have a cup of coffee or a phone conversation, that would be fun too. Again, I'm all about paying it forward and creating mutually beneficial win-win relationships to your massive success. Kevin, phone number, email address, blood type, blah, 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 blah. Now, I'm giving you a very quick overview on this because in a couple of moments, I'm going to shift gears and get into my relationship marketing system. I want to show you how I'm identifying the people I want to do business with. This is just one of many, many ways that I'm showing you how to identify your best prospects, clients, networking partners, and strategic alliances. And then I'm going to show you very quickly how I then nurture that relationship without ever being slick or salesy. Again, I'm doing this very quickly. Hopefully I'm not confusing you. Hopefully you're getting some value from this and it's making some sense. Just remember that the way we got here, all we did was we just went into LinkedIn's advanced people search, and all I did was type in CEO. I could have typed in golf. I could have typed in anything else to drill this down to common interests. I mean, it's crazy how powerful it is. I'm going to go back to the slides and show you one or two slides and then jump back on the internet. At the core of almost everything I do is it's all about relationships, as you heard me say. So it's not about monologue, it's about dialogue. It's about creating, when you have a dialogue, when you have conversation, selling pressure goes away, relationship pressure goes away. If you don't like the word selling here, just use the word relationship because it works just as well. 4 fundamental relationship truths. Without meaningful dialogue, there is no relationship. That's what most people do in business. They show up and throw up. They talk way too much. They don't ask intelligent questions, and they certainly don't listen to the answers. They're just waiting for their turn to talk next. That's bad. The best business owners, the best salespeople are not the best talkers. They're actually the best listeners. So you build trust and rapport by listening, and that's how you create strong relationships. When I first got into business and sales 25 years ago, I read 2 books that had a profound impact on me and continue to all these years later. Number 1 was How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie, which I recite every morning in the shower, the 31-sentence chapter summaries that are in that book. File that under TMI. Every morning I recite out loud from memory the 31-chapter summary because I know that my success long-term comes down to my ability to create relationships with people. The other book was Swim with the Sharks Without Getting Eaten Alive by Harvey McKay, and in that book he outlined something called the McKay 66. And what it is basically he developed 66 questions many, many years ago that he would give to his salespeople and for them to learn as much as they could about their prospects and their clients, because the more you know about somebody, not from an NSA weird, creepy stalker perspective, but the more you know about somebody, the more value you can deliver to a possible relationship. So I'm going to teach you extremely fast a very simple system that I've developed that has put millions of dollars into my business and into my clients' businesses. Then I'm going to take a break. I'm going to give you a very quick opportunity to take advantage of some continuing education materials that you can study in the leisure of your own home or office at a significant reduced investment. And then I'm going to come back on here and show you an online tool that will automate this system that I'm going to teach you very quickly. Normally, when I teach this from stage, I take 2 to 3 hours to teach this. I'm going to do this in about 15 minutes, very quickly. Understand, we're going to do this fast. First thing I want you to do is I want you to identify 3 groups of people that are either a combination of your best clients, prospects, networking partners, strategic alliances, and I want you to have 3 groups of people with 10 to 25 people per group. Your A's are your top tier people. For whatever reason in your business life, these are the people that are the most important people currently in your business life, 10 to 25 people. Then 10 to 25 B people, then 10 to 25 C people. The C people, they're not in another galaxy, but in your business solar system, they are the Plutos and the Jupiters. They come around every once in a while, but they're not off the grid. If you will do this, you've identified 30 to 75 key people. Again, this is highly laser focused. Instead of throwing mud on the wall, we're going to get very focused on creating, nurturing, and deepening relationships with 30 to 75 people. And I would bet you money, a year, 2 years from now, you would come back to me and say, Kevin, I am generating far more revenue from these 30 to 75 strategically identified people than all the other people in my business database overall. Then we're going to touch these people on 3 different levels. We're going to touch the A's every 15 days. That's twice a month. The B's are once a month, and the C's once a quarter. When I use the word touch, I'm not referring to if you're currently using a newsletter or an e-zine or anything like that. Keep doing that. I'm talking about something different. When I use the word touch, I mean it is 1,000% about them. It has nothing to do with you or me. It is not a thinly veiled sales pitch. We never talk about our own product or service. You're going to see an example of this in a few moments. It's always about them. Then there's 3 touches with a possible 4th. Email, personal note, phone call, and drop by. If I was looking to create a relationship with David and I met him however I met him, I would meet him, I would get his business card, I would send him an email the next day, hey David, it was wonderful meeting you. Let me know if you're ever in the Monument, Colorado area. If you are, we'll grab a cup of coffee or a beer. Hope you're having a great summer. Dear Massive Success, Kev. 15 days later, because he would be an A, my system is going to open up. It's going to tell me, Kevin, it's time to send him a personal note. Now, in the old days, I did this on a Franklin planner. That's how I scheduled this. Again, in a few minutes, I'm going to show you an online tool that will automate this entire thing for you. You will wake up in the morning, you will hit one button, and it will say, Kevin, it's time to send a personal note to David. Or Kevin, it's time to send a phone call to David. So I see personal note. I send him a note on my letterhead, or I go to Walmart and buy 50 little blue cards with nothing in the middle. Doesn't matter to me. In that note, 15 days from now we're in the beginning of August. Hey, David, hope your August is off to a great start. Don't forget to get a tan. It is summer. To your Massive Success, Kev. Put a stamp on it, lick it, put it in the mail. Who still mails cards? I do every single day. It's put millions of dollars into my business. Number 3, phone call. It notifies me, okay, Kevin, it's 15 days later, time to give David a phone call. I shoot him a quick voicemail. Hey, David, Kevin Knebl here, getting toward the end of August. I have this crazy habit that when somebody pops in my head, I pick up the phone and I say hi. Anyway, you popped in my head. Hope you're having a great end to your summer. Let me know if you're ever in the Monument area. We'll grab a beer or something. Rock on, Kev. Click. Now, again, I'm doing this fast. I could give you all kinds of examples of wording that I use on that. And number 4 would be a drop-by, where I literally would go by his office, drop off something like a cup of coffee or something like that, unexpected, completely blow his mind. Typically, within 60 to 63 days of touches, most people start to exhibit buying signals. When I use the word buying signals, let's just say that they start to reply, because that's what normal, rational, fully functioning, polite people do. When somebody gives you a compliment, or somebody sends you a card in the mail, or sends you an email or something with a link to something that you have an interest in, typically you would say, oh, how nice, and you would say thank you. Again, I'm doing this very quickly, but if you actually take advantage of some of the resources I'm going to show you in a few seconds, you will learn how to get into all the nooks and crannies, and this system is designed to be implemented in 15 minutes per day. That's it. This is not designed to add an extra hour, 2 hours onto your already busy life. I can guarantee you, if you do this the way I teach you, it will never take you more than 15 minutes a day to do this if you're working with 30 to 75 people that you're trying to create relationships with. I can say that so assuredly because this is exactly what I've done for so many years, and this is how I've created a 99% by invitation referral only business. It's maximum 15 minutes a day, tops. Now, I'm going to jump out of here, and I'm going to take you and show you an opportunity because of my relationship with Value Source and your relationship with Value Source. I'm going to make you aware of 2 opportunities, and then we're going to jump back on, and I'm going to show you an online tool to automate that high-tech, high-touch system. If you were to ever go to my website at kevinknebl.com, you would see a 4-hour LinkedIn and Twitter training course. This training course has helped people generate so many millions of dollars in income and revenue over the years, and it was all updated a couple of months ago with all the newest features on LinkedIn and Twitter. It's a 4-hour course, streaming video, which means you can watch it over and over and over as many times as you want until the end of the earth, and I always update it with the newest features and functions every 6 months. This is the same training that my corporate clients invest over 15 to 20,000 plus, fly me to Australia, London, Panama, New Jersey, wherever. And here on my website, it's available for $197. Because of your relationship with ValueSource, I'm knocking 50% off, which is a 25% savings for $147. Where you would find this is at kevinknebl.com/products-ValueSource. This is a hidden page on my website. You cannot see this on my website. If you go to kevinknebl.com, you're never going to see this page. The only way you're going to see it is because you're on this presentation right now. If you went to kevinknebl.com/products-ValueSource, you could take advantage for the next 2 hours. This is not evergreen, folks. This is a sweet deal for you. If you take advantage within the next 2 hours, this is going to be taken down after a couple of hours. You can hit the add to cart. You will process the 147, and the system will immediately email you your login and password and give you instant access to these videos, which you can watch as many times as you want for the rest of your life. The other opportunity is I just recorded a new training program. Now buckle up. This is crazy good. What I did was I recorded a 17-hour social selling and relationship marketing mastery training course. It's 17 hours, folks. This is the holy grail of social selling and relationship marketing. This is it. There's a reason, I don't say this to be cocky or arrogant, please don't take it that way, but there's a reason that companies like McGraw-Hill call me and ask me to write books. I don't submit manuscripts, I don't submit proposals looking for a book deal. They call me and say, Kevin, here's a $10,000 advance, would you write a book on how to do this stuff? So I know what I'm talking about. So here, what I've done, because I cannot work with enough people one-to-one, there's not enough time in the day, and I travel too much, I've created my social selling and relationship mastery course, which goes into all the nuances, the aspects, all the nooks and crannies on social selling and relationship marketing. Similar to the other course, it's streaming video, which means you have access to it forever as long as you have an internet connection, okay? So it's evergreen for you. Here, it's a 1-hour overview on social selling. It's over 9 hours on every single feature and function within LinkedIn and all of my principal strategies and routines in terms of using those features and functions, because it's one thing to have a transmission, but it's another thing to be a race car driver. Don't be fooled by all these so-called social media gurus. By the way, most people that call themselves gurus, they do it because they can't spell charlatan. I never refer to myself as a guru. I'm an enthusiast and I help my clients generate millions, but I'm not so arrogant that I call myself a guru, okay? So it's not just knowing what the features do, it's understanding the principal strategies and routines, right? Just because you know how a transmission works doesn't make you a race car driver. So I know a lot of people that are so-called LinkedIn experts or whatever, but they're broke and they have no idea how to create relationships, but they sure know how to, a transmission works. So I go into over 9 hours of how to use LinkedIn strategically using my systems, over 4 hours of how to use Twitter, and then we get into my high-tech, high-touch relationship marketing system, which we're going to get back into in a couple seconds. I introduce you to my pay-it-forward business model. There is nothing that I speak, train, coach, or consult on or ever have that has put more money into my clients' pockets than this system right here. There's nothing. So on my website, this 17-hour training program is available for $997, which, to be quite frank, is a steal. Because of my relationship with David and ValueSource, I'm taking 50% off of that for the next 2 hours. If you go to kevinknebl.com/products-ValueSource, if you're interested in the holy grail, the whole enchilada, the entire holy grail of social selling and relationship marketing, everything you're ever going to need to know about LinkedIn, everything you're going to need about Twitter, and every single nuance of how to use my high-tech, high-touch relationship marketing system, for the next 2 hours, I'll give it to you for $497. Don't sleep on this, folks, because it won't be available. You need to do this, and you need to do it in the next 120 minutes. So you hit the Add to Cart button. You will immediately be emailed your login and your password, and you will have unlimited lifetime access to this training. And if you have questions, thoughts, ideas, I'm as close to the phone or email. Now, that is a really, really good deal. I'm going to get off this page. You might want to jot this down. If you don't, open up another browser and order it right now. You still have access for the next 119 minutes. kevinknebl.com/products-ValueSource. Okay? Now let's jump back. I want to finish up showing you a tool that I use every single morning. So I gave you an understanding of my simple ABC, different touches, different ways of touching, different all that. I'm now going to take you to a website that I use every single morning called refer.com. don't go to refer.com. Go to refer.com/Kevin Knebl. The reason why is because I have a very strategic alliance with this company and the CEO in Boise, Idaho. I don't have time to get into the backstory, but it's crazy cool. But because of my relationship with this company, the only people that have access to a very discounted test drive are the people that go to refer.com/Kevin Knebl, $99 3-month test drive. The first thing I do every morning is I go into refer.com/Kevin Knebl and I log into my account. I want to show you exactly how I do those touches that I explained to you a few moments ago, how I literally do this every single morning, and it takes me less than 15 minutes. The first thing I do is I go in here and I can look at my contacts. Now, if I sync this with LinkedIn or my Gmail account, you would see these people's real names. But I didn't because I have 21,000 connections, so I put these people in manually. You can see David's in here and a bunch of other people. The first thing I do every morning is I go in here and it shows me, based on those colors, if they have a red around themselves, it means, Kevin, it's time for a touch. If it's a green, it means that I'm caught up. I'm proving to you now that I practice what I preach. I do not teach theoretical BS. I only teach what I do, because otherwise you're being a hypocrite, and I have very low tolerance for hypocrites. So you can see here that I do exactly what I'm telling you. I can create as many groups as I want, prospects, clients, referral sources. I haven't. I just create A, B's, and C's. And right now you're looking at my real business in real time. There are really 19 people in my A group, 23 in my B, and 17 in my C, exactly how I told you earlier. So what I'm doing here is you can see the people that I've identified as A's, people that I'm currently looking at as very high target people that I want to do business with. Basically, this is a CRM. So you actually just create a contact. I'm going to show you one very quickly. Let's go to Andrew. So Andrew, what's going to happen right now is a lot of what I've been teaching you for the last 47 minutes is going to come home and all come together right now. When this gentleman, Andrew, came into my world, however he came into my world, and I realized he was somebody that I wanted to do business with, I put him into my high-tech, high-touch system, and I made him an A. The very first thing I did then was I went over to look at his LinkedIn profile. Now this is all going to start to come together for you. I look at his LinkedIn profile like I showed you earlier. I'm doing my homework, and I'm looking and I'm taking a sincere interest in this guy. I want to see what makes this man tick. As I look at his profile, I can see he's telling me everything I need to know. He enjoys spending his time with his wife and kids. He likes gymnastics. He's a runner. He wants to someday go into the Disney Marathon. I could see everything he's putting on his LinkedIn profile. By the way, and I'm not stalking. He wants me to see it. That's why he put it on his profile. I could see where he went to college, what he majored in, what frat he pledged. I can see all this information. I got his birthday. I got all this. So then I just go back to refer.com/Kevin Knebl, and I put it into his contact. I just hit add interest, add interest, add interest. So here you can see Ohio Northern University, Indiana, Disney Marathon, running. So all I've done is I've taken the information that he's telling me on LinkedIn, or that he's telling me on Facebook, or that he's telling me on Twitter, or that he's telling me on Instagram. I used the term earlier in this presentation, digital and social footprint. The people that you want to create, nurture, and deepen relationships with, they're already telling you everything you need to know. The question is, are you awake enough to understand it? What most people are doing is they're going way too fast, and they're missing so many opportunities. When I work with individuals in an executive coaching relationship or something like that, I'm typically slowing people down, because when you actually slow down, you end up going much farther faster than when you're running at Mach 5 with your hair on fire. The irony, the paradox, is that slowing down will actually get you farther faster than running at Mach 5. So all I'm doing is I'm slowing down enough to look at this person and learn about them, take the information that I learned from their social footprint, put it into their contact, and now when I get up in the morning and there's a red thing around him saying, Kevin, it's time to touch him, well, now I just ask myself, do I want to send him an email? Do I want to record a phone conversation? Do I want to text him through this system? Do I want to drop by his office and make a note on that? Or do I want to send him a card in the mail? Just for fun, watch what I would do here. Let's say I decided to go with the email. There's suggested messages in here. So it's actually giving me suggestions. If I'm not a writer and I can't come up with clever wording, it's actually giving me general wording. If I send him a message, thinking of you, thinking of you. If I hit this, it'll actually populate it in the body of the message, and I can change the wording any way I want to. So it's already giving you wording with dozens and dozens of examples. But here's one of my favorite things. Do you see where it says add a value item? When I hit add a value item, it already knows what Andrew's interests are because I put them in his profile. Well, now I just pick one of the interests. I know he likes to run, so I hit running. It goes out to the internet, and it pulls up every single article that's currently out there on running. So now I can go here and I can say, well, what do I want to send him on running? I can preview by clicking preview. It'll actually open up the actual web page so I can ensure that I'm sending him something correct, or I can just hit quick insert. It adds it as a link, and here I could say, hi, Andrew, hope you're having a great summer, blah, 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 blah. I saw this interesting article on running. I thought of you. Anyway, don't forget to have some burgers and some hot dogs on the grill to your massive success, Kev. I hit send. It immediately sends this to him. I can blind carbon copy myself too, but it immediately goes to him, and it's got a link. Now let me ask you something as I start to wind this presentation today up. Think about your world. If you're like me, in your world, you're constantly getting bombarded with thinly veiled and not so thinly veiled sales pitches from people that are trying to sell you something. They're not treating you any special. They're not treating you special at all. They're treating you like everybody else that they're throwing a lot of mud on the wall. They really don't care. I don't mean to sound harsh, but let's look at the evidence. If they're treating you the way they treat everybody else, then by definition, they don't look at you any differently than they do anybody else. So let me ask you a question. When was the last time somebody who wanted to create a mutually beneficial win-win relationship with you touched you on a 15, 30, 60, or 90-day sequence based on how badly they wanted to do business with you? When was the last time somebody checked you out and found out that you like red wine from Italy and sent you a link to an interesting wine review? When was the last time somebody checked you out and noticed that you like fly fishing and either sent you a card in the mail that referenced it, or even sent you a link to some fishing holes in Idaho? I would predict never, as in never. Again, I'm not trying to be mean, folks. I'm trying to point out what I refer to as a BFO, a blinding flash of the obvious. It takes so little to be above average, but most people are running so fast, they're treating people pretty averagely. If you just did half of what I've been showing you, you would already be miles and miles ahead of all your competition. If you did this 15 minutes a day the way I'm teaching you, you would be 1,000 miles ahead of your competition. They wouldn't even see your dust because you'd be creating, nurturing, and deepening relationships with a key group of people that you want to do business with. You would start to open up endless pipelines of referrals, which I teach in that longer 17-hour training program. You would be completely booked with business. You would have to start turning business away, which is what I have to do because I can't keep up with the demand. I don't say that to be cocky or arrogant, but boy, is it a sweet place to operate from. When you have so much business, so many conversations going on with enough people that you're creating referrals all the time and you're deepening relationships with existing clients and centers of influence, that is a really, really sweet way to live. So I'm going to recap in about 1 minute everything that we've covered here today. Understand that I've given you today what normally I would do in a half-day or a full-day training program. Obviously, we're just scratching the tip of the iceberg. But like David said in the beginning of this presentation, he said that most webinars, most presentations you attend, maybe you take away 1 or 2 nuggets. Hopefully, if you've been listening, I know that I've been sharing nuggets with you for 54 minutes. I have been cramming nuggets out. Hopefully you've taken away a couple nuggets. The first thing I taught you was that it's not about social media, it's about social networking. Then we went over to LinkedIn. I showed you how to optimize your LinkedIn profile to ensure that you're giving the right first impression. Then I showed you how to add your connections so that you can integrate all of your existing CRM, Goldmine, Salesforce, Act, whatever, in addition to your email into your LinkedIn account. Then I showed you how I accept LinkedIn invitations, and I actually personalize the invitation and send them my template, and then if I want to, I tag them. Then I showed you the LinkedIn Advanced Search tool, where you can identify people almost down to eye color based on job title, zip code, industry, where they went to work, employee size. Then I showed you how to reach out to those people in a way that was not slick or salesy, that always adds value and nurture the relationship. Then I shifted gears and I got into my high-tech, high-touch relationship marketing system right here, where I showed you how to identify categories of people, how to set up a touch sequence, how to break it up so it's not always the same thing, and how typically within 63 days, a lot of those people are going to start to come back to you and have an interest in having a conversation with you. Then I took you to refer.com/Kevin Knebl, and I showed you how to automate the entire thing by populating it with your A's, B's, and C's, and then creating a simple touch sequence in 15 minutes a day to stay top of mind and create the relationship. The last thing I want you to remember is if you go to kevinknebl.com/products-value source for the next 2 hours, because we will take this down in less than 2 hours. There's a 4-hour training program that's normally $200. You're getting it for $147, 25% discount. Great program. It's helped a lot of people. If it were me, though, I would go for the 17-hour program. It is brand spanking new. It's on my website for $997. I'm knocking 50% off because of your relationship with David and ValueSource. $497, unlimited lifetime access to these videos. So you'll learn all about my pay-it-forward business model, high-tech, high-touch relationship marketing system. This is the holy grail of social selling and relationship marketing. I am hoping you got some nuggets here. Before I bring David back on the call, I want to let you know I'm all about creating, nurturing, and deepening relationships. Anybody can say that. Talk is cheap, but you can always tell a tree by the fruit it bears. I'm giving you permission. If you have questions later today, tomorrow, next week, next lifetime, I am always as close as the phone or email. Because of your relationship with ValueSource, I'm happy to help you. I'll get back to you as quickly as I can. I do travel a lot, so give me a couple, if I don't get back to you in 5 minutes, I'm not avoiding you. I'm probably just on an airplane. Also, make sure you go to my website, kevinknebl.com, and sign up for my free newsletter, which comes out all the time. It gives you all kinds of additional things that will help you in your business. And because I can see on the back end that a number of you are investing in this opportunity, either the 147 or the 497, I can see that. So the last thing I'm going to say is this. I'm going to sweeten the deal. If you invest in this here right now in the next 2 hours, I'm going to have an additional 1-hour webinar. I'll schedule it in the next couple of weeks, and ValueSource will contact you because we can see that you invested in one of these 2 products today. When you invest in one of these 2 products in the next 2 hours, you will be notified by ValueSource of an additional 1-hour webinar to be scheduled at some point a couple of weeks out, where I will go even deeper into the nooks and crannies and take you by the hand. So I'm sweetening the deal by saying an additional hour pro bono, complimentary to you as a gift from me. David, I'm going to turn it back over to you. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to present to some of your folks. Are you on the line, David?
Yeah, I'm here. Thank you, Kevin. I've known you for 10 years. I've been listening to you and reading your newsletter for 10 years. I'm inspired every time I hear you talk about this, and you give me 1 or 2 more things to do. It's great stuff. We have a couple of questions, and I'd like to open it up to questions as well. There should be a question box on your go to webinar form, type in questions. And Kevin, we do have a couple of questions, so why don't we start with those? Before we do that, let me just make sure that people know that kevinknebl.com/products-value source. There's no E in value. It's VALUSOURCE. I've gotten a couple of questions about the link doesn't work, so that's how you get there. But the first question is, what are your thoughts, Kevin, on old school networking like Rotary, Kiwanis? Is that a bad ROI?
No, I think it's very important. I think that you should balance both online and offline networking. So I'm a big proponent on making sure that you build into your calendar at least once a month, if not twice a month, to go old school to some face-to-face type of networking. And actually, that's a lot of what I teach too, because that's what I've been teaching for 20 years is old school networking, but applied to a new school kind of social media world. So yes, I think there's huge validity in continuing to do face-to-face networking.
Okay, Stephen asked, are most of these search features only for premium members?
One of the most common questions. Almost everything I showed you on the search features are actually available to the free membership. LinkedIn is constantly tweaking what's free and what's premium, but 90% of what I showed you is actually available on a free account.
And Allie asks, you are using a LinkedIn premium account. Is that much better than the standard service?
It is if you use it. The way I typically say it is, a gym is really good when you buy a gym membership, but it really doesn't help you when you don't go. When you sit on the couch and you eat Doritos and drink Slurpees, the gym membership isn't helping you. I'm going to suggest that if you upgrade to a premium LinkedIn account at about $50 a month, if you will use it using the strategies that I teach in these programs that I'm offering you on my screen right now, if you will use LinkedIn in 15 minutes per day the way I teach you to, the $50 a month thing is going to be a drop in the bucket because it will be nothing. So I think it's very, very affordable if and when you use the features. Does that make sense, David?
Yeah, definitely. Tom asked, does the 17-hour course encompass the material in the 4-hour course?
It encompasses the material in the 4-hour course, and it adds on an additional 13 hours. Yes. Yes.
Jerry says, thank you very much. Rhonda asks, the products you offer are lifetime access. Are they updated for new technology or features?
Fantastic question. I update all of these products every 6 months to reflect the newest features and functionalities of these websites. Fantastic question. Lifetime unlimited access, and even if you don't watch it and you don't watch it for the next 2 years, when you log in 2 years from now, you're still going to have the most current and updated information.
Let's see here. Carolyn asks, where was the place to see who in your Outlook that you can connect with in LinkedIn?
Very simple. You go on LinkedIn, you go up here to where it says connections, you hit the drop-down menu, you hit add connections, and then you can integrate your email. You could also integrate if you use a CRM such as Salesforce or Goldmine, you would just hit here to upload a contact file. Make sense? David?
Yeah, I'm just looking at some questions here. I've got a couple more questions on, it seems like the 497 course, Kevin, includes everything in the 147 course. So if you buy the big one, it includes everything in the little one, right?
Of course, yes.
Laurie asked if we can get your slides. Can you send those to me, Kevin, and I'll send them out?
Absolutely.
Okay, Laurie, we will send you those slides. Alan asked, does refer.com replace Goldmine?
That's a good question. No, it doesn't. Refer.com is actually, at its core, it's a CRM. I don't know that I would use it as a standalone CRM, and it will integrate and sync to some degree with things like Goldmine, Salesforce, Act, Redtail, things like that. So if you don't currently have any form of CRM, I think you could use it as one, but it wouldn't necessarily have a lot of the features that a lot of other CRMs would. So I wouldn't replace Goldmine with it, but it would be a nice kind of add-on or a bolt-on that would work very, very well. Yeah.
Here's a question from David. It says, do you ever find certain types of people, like lawyers, get creeped out with these capabilities of these high-tech tools being used on them and then withdraw from your networking?
It's a really good question. I work with a lot of lawyers. I spoke recently at a lawyer summit in Panama City, Panama, with some of the top lawyers in the world. Here's the way I would answer that question. Wouldn't a phone also freak out lawyers if you used it in a less than elegant manner? So everything that I'm teaching you here today, you have to apply common sense. You have to apply good networking etiquette, or what I call internet etiquette or internet etiquette. A tool, listen to what I'm about to say very closely. A tool is only as useful as the skills of the person using the tool. So if you're a creepy person to begin with, you're probably going to creep people out by the way you use social media. But if you're a compassionate, empathetic person who wants to do the right thing, you're probably not going to use tools in such a way that position you as a creepy person. I hope that didn't sound too vague, but it's really not about the tool, it's about the individual.
Dennis asked, you mentioned not having competitors in your LinkedIn network. How do you delete them if they currently are having not known this since they requested your link?
Yep, it's a very, very common question. You can go into LinkedIn, you can open up your contacts, and you can actually unconnect from anybody, and they will not be notified of that. There's also a nuclear option where you could block the person, and they would not even be able to ever even see you again on LinkedIn. I call that the nuclear option, but it's very easy to unconnect. And if that person or anybody on this call has additional questions, please feel free to call me or email me, and I'll answer any and all questions that you have.
Well, Kevin, that was the last question we have. I'd like to thank everybody for attending. I want to thank you, Kevin. That was fabulous. We've been wanting to work together for a long time, and hopefully this is the beginning of a long working relationship together. And I'd like to give everybody on the call some homework too. I'd like you to do something today to build and nurture a business relationship in the next few hours. Pick some business relationship, take something that Kevin said, and reach out and put a smile on someone's face. Like Kevin said, we're always, usually too busy, moving too fast to do that. But that's one of the things that I've really learned from Kevin. If you slow down and reach out and touch people, it really makes a difference. And I'd also like to think of a personal relationship in your life you want to reach out and touch too. Normally we do the same thing with them. We're moving too fast. We don't put a smile on their face. And I'd encourage you to take one business relationship, one personal relationship, and put two smiles put two smiles on faces today. So thank you very much. We'll reach out to you guys. We'll send everybody the PowerPoints and follow up to this, and keep a lookout for more stuff from Kevin. So thank you all very much. Kevin, thank you. And that's the end of the webinar.
Thank you, Dave. Thank you, David. God bless.